How's it going, everybody? We got the weekly blog to go over, and we also got to talk about what I think was a horrible mistake from the developers, and we already saw what it did in the past doing this type of mistake, so I guess we're gonna just repeat history, because you're not supposed to learn from that thing. Okay, so anyway, let's go over the blog first. We got Merc's Golden Bounty, the Battle Pass for Cosmic Ghost Rider Shards, coming a little bit too late after the finish of the Old Man Logan. Use campaign energy, accept ISO 8 and incursion, plus raid with Spider Society and collect raid champion orb fragments. So Sins of the Fire, that's an easy one to do. In his Shadow Web milestone, use incursion energy plus battle in raids. North Star initial release will be on the 4th, so look out for all the new infographics for the Alpha Flight team. We'll be having that hopefully out by the 4th. X marks the spot, Alpha Flight Super Showcase. Yes, I love those showcases. I do think the showcases are probably one of the best things they've brought to the game in a very long time. We got the Girl Power Quick Rumble, Blitz with A-Force, coming out milestone. Keep an eye out for inbox message alerting you to character availability. North Star shooting your way, so this is gonna be just, hey, you can buy him, you could core for him. If you do buy him, extra offers will pop up. You can give us extra money. If that floats your boat, I guess float your boat. X marks the spot, so gear up your next big mission to the Age of X Alpha Flight Showcase. Join Old Man Logan and Alpha Flight as they search for answers in the mysterious absence of Professor X. Witness the battlefield prowess of Alpha Flight while earning valuable rewards. As speaking of rewards, you'll notice that this showcase has more mission nodes than recent showcases. To accommodate additional nodes, some of the rewards will have been spread out, and for the challenge and story difficulties, the maximum number of node attempts has been reduced from 40 to 30. You'll still be earning the same number of rewards, just make sure to hit all the nodes to enjoy them. The secondary trade option for X marks the spot missions is X-Men. Okay, that's easy, right? So power up your X-Men, the Extreme X-Men, so you're fine. Basically, it's going to be just like what this one was, is you're going to wait until you unlock the next Alpha Flight member, you're going to get in there, finish those nodes, and go on from there. So what are going to be our first time rewards? Test Drive. Commanders of level 25 and above can team up with the initial mission. We'll provide a powered-up Alpha Flight team for you to test out the capabilities of Alpha Flight against simplified or sample battles. Test Drive offers a first-time rewards of X-Men Shard characters along with gold and gear credits. That's a very broad tag. They've done that one in the past. It's kind of a bummer that they repeat it. I kind of wish they would do it with, I don't know, like New Avengers or something that we actually use for like legendary unlocks for the mid-game new players. But anyway, I digress. Then basically story challenge. These are the modes. Story, easily get through. Challenges where you're going to have to wait until you're unlocking characters on the way. And then there's the Alpha Flight one, which I think is going to be the 4-star. Yeah, and then the bonus one is 6-star. Kraken snacks, right? Homeward Bound. Okay, so there's no place like home, right? Let's continue making our Mercs for Money characters feel at home in June by raking in a major haul of Dakin Shards. There you go. So we were all worried, like, hey, where the heck are all the Dakin Shards? Why are we getting 45 for this unlock? What the frick, man? Apparently there's going to be another event for it. And what won't be complete without a frame? There's also an exclusive player portrait frame for Bragging Rights. It kind of looks like the Northern Lights. That's kind of cool. Let's make sure you hit your milestones. That's really cool. Wait a minute. Homeward Bound is composed of 11 events. Wait, he's the monthly character? Is that what's happening? So Dakin had his initial release, but he's also going to be the monthly character, so we should get a bunch of shards for him. If that's the case, I like that. We'll have to see how many shards are actually in that. I'm not sure if it's in-game right now. I'm just going to do a quick sweep to see if it is. I don't see it here right now. So, I mean, if we're going to get 180 shards from him... Wait, there might be a chart? There is a chart. Okay. Alright, so yeah, Dakin is monthly characters. So 5, 10, 20, 30, 45, 60, 80, 100. How do we feel about that? Do we feel like his initial event was just like a nothing burger then? Or are we happy about this? Because Dakin's a great character. I'm going to go with I'm happy about this, because Dakin's actually a really good character. There's going to be leaderboards, so make your head of household with the big prize of the leaderboard climb the ranks. So what is it going to be? Diamonds for somebody? No? Just usual crap? Okay, perfect. Week 1 of Homeward Bound events, Sins of the Father. So use campaign energy. We kind of went over this. In the Shadow, use incursion energy. And then the Girl Power Quick Rumble. Let the women of A4 shine in the Empowered Blitz. Hey, one thing you guys should know about Blitz as a newer player, the Sunfire addition to the Alpha Flight team is a really good thing for us, because we can just farm Sunfire, who seems to be one of the main damage dealers on that team, all the way up to 7 stars quickly. So get your Fire Stir up there, or Sunfire, whatever the heck his name is. Get him to 7 yellows, get him to 7 red, get him built up for the Spotlight raids. we gotta talk about the spotlight raids. For new players, mid-game players, we have to have a very frank conversation about the spotlight raids. They are uber important. They're not skippable, and they're not lazyable, okay? You and your alliance need to get the highest difficulty of the spotlight raids as soon as possible. It doesn't mean buy them. It means like when the Outflight team is released, your alliance should be built up. You should already be on difficulty 2. You should be in there. I've already been able to beat difficulty 1 with a 1. Anyway, we're gonna do a whole video about it. Anyway, yeah, we'll do a whole video about it. Make sure you get this week's Merc's Golden Bounty, so make sure you're doing your blitzes here as well. Okay, let's talk about this bullshit. They buff Mephisto. We've been reviewing the impact that Mephisto makes on the game since he launched, and we've decided to make updates to his kit. Okay, so let me rephrase this. We've been receiving bitchy complaints from Krakens that Mephisto isn't auto-winning wars or crucibles for them, and so we've decided to update his kit. Okay, now that we got that out of the way. When we developed Mephisto, we wanted players to be able to choose which empowered ability they'd use in battle. This flexibility feels great in the hands of the players, while in offense attacking, as each ability has different use cases, and they are the most optimal. However, they're lackluster when Mephisto is in defense, as he'll default to his empowered ultimate. So that gives you exhaust. So on defense, it doesn't mean like you can't Black Knight him, but it leaves it available to like Skrull, Apocalypse, those mythic characters that get a lot of speed bar that can kind of pop off. Fair enough on that point. We're updating Mephisto's kit, focusing on improving his consistency and staying power while on defense. This means Mephisto will be more powerful. However, his power utility will be befitting the character obtained for the Dark Dimensions. Let me tell you this straight up right now. Mephisto is fine. He is fine. This change alone, I would have been like, all right, cool. What comes next is crazy. We aim to have improvements in the game by May 31st. My understanding is that it went live already. I mean, it is May 31st, but that it went live yesterday. Stats, health, 50%, armor, 50%, focus, 50%, resist, 50%. So these two things right here are going to be insanely impactful. Thank God they didn't do his damage, because his damage is already insane. But the focus and resist, so actually, you know what, 50% resistance can be an absolute nightmare. So this is just way too much. If they did like 20%, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. They added like a whole gear tier to the character, but they went with 50. Updated combat data, so Mephisto no longer applies taunt to himself. Fine, fair enough, if he's the villain with the highest health, because with this health increase, he was basically always going to be the villain with the highest health. You don't want him taunting, fine. Ultimate, Revenge of the Damned, old. So let's just go with what's new here, right? For all mythic enemies, apply vulnerable, flip immunity, apply ability block, attack all enemies for 750% damage, apply charm for 2 turns, damage reduced. The max health, so this is all still regular. Clear all battlefield effects, this is all still regular. It's just this part, unavoidable, cannot be blocked. Honestly, that's fine for me too. It's his ultimate ability, it takes him a while to get there. It being unavoidable is the same thing as like Skrull's ultimate being avoidable. It is what it is. The empowered ultimate, apply exhaust to all enemies, lose empowered. The new one is apply exhaust to all enemies. On defense, it's also going to apply exposed to 2 mythic enemies with the highest health. Lose empowered. So the fact that it's mythic enemies with the highest health basically means if you are trying to take down a Mephisto using like Skrull and Apocalypse, well, they're both going to get exposed. They're not going to get their speed bar, so Skrull basically sucks. And Apocalypse is not going to be able to ult, get to 100% speed bar, and Falcon Punch him, right? So it's kind of a protection against that. All in all, I'd still be okay with everything up to now. Because up to now, it's basically securing him as being like, you're going to have to take 1 loss, or you're going to have to use something like Cabal in Crucible. With the 50% health, maybe Cabal in Crucible is not going to work. We'll have to wait and see. But if you put Mephisto now with like a superior 6 or something, Cabal is definitely not going to work. So then there's the passive. This is where shit goes off the rails. The old one was on spawn if this character is not a clone and does not have exhausted, gains 666% speed until this character's first turn. If this character has any mythic enemies, gain charge. So first of all, this is like a misnomer, right? People think like, hey, when he spawns in, he has 666% speed. He should go first right away. But as we learned from the Old Man Logan trial, if you drop in the middle of the action of a fight, and say somebody like Cosmic Ghost Rider is already at like 98% speed bar, he's still going to beat Mephisto there. He's still going to go before him. That's like a PvE kind of edge case though. On this character's first turn, this character is not a clone, did not spawn with exhausted, become empowered. When this character or an ally drops below 20% max health, clear taunt from that character. New is on spawn if this character is not a clone, gains 666% speed until this character's first turn. If this character has any mythic enemies, gain charge. So what are we missing? Does not have exhausted. Mephisto can now gain speed if he spawned with exhausted on this character's first turn. This character is not a clone, become empowered. Designers note, Mephisto can now gain empowered if he spawned with exhausted. When this character or an ally jumps 20% max health, apply stealth and 1 death proof. Even this part I'm kind of fine with, because Mephisto puts taunts and like tries to get his friends killed, right? This whole, he can now, well, first of all, now he still gets his speed even if he's exhausted, is crazy. So in war, the general consensus was you would go in with like 4 piece at a time or 5 piece at a time, whatever the case may be. You'd get exhausted from Mephisto. It would suck, but with the Cosmic Ghost Rider passive, you'd still be able to like eat a bunch of abilities, and then you'd go in for a cleanup. If that isn't already an acceptable use of a character that is causing an instant loss, like a burn attack, I don't know what is in war, because war teams are so powerful. But what this means in Crucible is that you need to go in there and you need to kill him, because there's not going to be that sort of out-of-time caliber team that's going to go all the way and pull the ultimate. So when he comes in, he gets empowered and he does all those crazy buffs to his team, all those crazy debuffs to your team, and there's a reasonable team around him, not something cheap like the Nowhere team. He might be unkillable in Crucible. It might make it so that you're like a 5-5 kind of stages instead of 6-6. So people might go like full offense and then just have Mephisto. Because honestly, and here's the thing, this is going to bite Krakens in the ass for doing this. Because if it does turn out that with these stats and with with these stats and with him now putting expose on characters like Apocalypse and Super Skrull, if it turns out Cabal with Masters of Evil cannot beat certain Mephisto teams at all, even with a burn attack, even by giving Mephisto exhausted, what's going to end up happening is both people that have Mephisto are going to end up putting him on defense, and there's going to be a 5v5 stage, right? And because it's only going to be 5v5, if you have more stuff on offense, it's just going to be a shootout, really. It's going to be back to efficiency, which is what they didn't want. They wanted Mephisto to stop that. But people in Mephisto are mainly going to be facing people in Mephisto. This, to me, seems like it was very ill thought out. At the very least, I would have liked to seen something like Alpha Flight, where it says, does not have more than 1 exhaust, whatever the case may be. So you would burn it twice, and then you'd be able to go in, right? I don't understand why they have to make it absolute. It seems very silly to me. All right, so the empowered passive. The old was apply the following 2 turns to self and all allies. Safeguard defense up, offense up. Apply 3 death proof to self and all allies. Apply trauma defense down, offense down, and 3 bleeds to all enemies. And apply battlefield effect Mephisto. So now what it is also doing is it is clearing vulnerable from self and all allies. And this is where it's going to screw Crucible up even more. The clearing vulnerable from all allies is a straight shot at your Cabal team, right? So he's empowered, he goes first, fuck your vulnerables. So all of a sudden, they're going to be going faster and faster and faster. And then it's still going to apply all the following positive effects to them, all the negative effects to yourself. It is now 1,000% extra focus, it is unavoidable, cannot be blocked or counterattacked, and then it still applies the battlefield effect. So this is what they did with Apocalypse, okay? Apocalypse came out, people felt it was lackluster, mostly because everybody got Apocalypse at the same time, right? And then they overcorrected to a crazy degree. And then we ended up having a insane power leap that was basically, it was catalyzed by the Apocalypse rework. And now they're doing the same thing with Mephisto. And all of a sudden, we're getting characters like Old Man Logan, who are absolutely ridiculous. The power leap is going to only get increased from here, which is a problem for the game, in my opinion, because we already have so many characters that are dead and gone, that if we power leaping even further beyond them, then the balancing act for new players, mid-game players, and even players at the end game who aren't spending money, it's going crazy. And diamonds have already exasperated that a lot, and a lot of Krakens already have 3 diamonds on everything. So how long until 4th, 5th diamonds are in the game? We know it's going to happen eventually. It's just a matter of time. But this rework to Mephisto is kind of, it's an egregious shot at the haves and have-nots. You better race to get Mephisto now, and forget about using Mephisto on the offensive side, because it's just going to be a crapshoot. And the very best, if you find a way where you're auto-winning your Mephisto matchups in Crucible and War, you're still going to be at an efficiency deficit. Because he's always going to get his Empower stuff off. He's always going to make it take a lot longer to get it done. It's kind of dumb. I think it's kind of really dumb as like the only Envoy who gets to play with Mephisto on the J2D account. I'm not looking forward to this. I was very much enjoying using Mephisto on the offensive side. This basically defaults him to a defensive character. I see this way differently than a lot of the big spenders see this. You paid for a toy, and now you're going to put the toy on the shelf. Look, I have collectible toys, don't get me wrong. But that's an expensive collectible toy with an expiration date, right? All characters eventually get crept up by something else. So what's going to creep Mephisto out? Probably Professor Xavier. If Old Man Logan's any indication, maybe the next legendary character is going to have an erase everything button that he gets to do with 5,000% speed bar on spawn. The game is becoming a little silly. This is silly. The exhaust is silly. The straight shot at taking off the vulnerables, this is silly as well. We'll see how things go down the line. Let me know what you guys think about the Mephisto rework. I know this is kind of like a very abstract concept to people because they don't have Mephisto or they don't face Mephisto regularly. But I'd be interested to know what you guys think. And then the gatekeeping on the arena is crazy, right? Yeah, I mean, look. People in arena were not beating Mephisto teams anyway unless they had him. It's just silliness. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video for whatever value it might have given you. Over the weekend, we're going to be having some great new player videos coming up, particularly like, hey, we've reached a finish line with our raid teams. This is great. So what do we do now in our new... Once you finish your raid teams, you're now in the mid game. And the game becomes super fun from that point. Until you start facing Mephistos, of course. And then we're going to have a video talking about the Spotlight raids, the importance of hunkering down, getting your shit together, and making sure that your alliance is like-minded like you. Because these Spotlight raids, they are the #1 priority in the game right now because of those T4s. And then we're going to have a Black Cat guide come out on how to get the unlock, because we haven't done that one yet, for the new players. And then hopefully soon, hopefully 2 weeks from now, because it's going to have to wait till she gets her rerun, we'll do a max out Black Cat. Hopefully a max out everybody, because yeah, we're kind of done with raid teams now. Anyway, guys, have yourselves a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk soon. Bye. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.